Welcome to Make a Path Presents. My name is Ronnie Hayes, and today let's talk The Walking Dead comic Q&A number 4. Alright, if you want to participate, follow the directions in that comment box. If you do not follow those directions, I probably won't see your question. So check those directions out. Let's go. Austin Angler. Would Negan be weaker because he's been locked up in jail is what you're asking? I wouldn't think so because, he doesn't have a weight set there, but I'm sure he could do push-ups. And if you think about it, that's a small prison jail cell, and that's got to be boring. Oh, that's got to be just bad. Unrealistically awful, if I might add. Imagine how boring and dull that is. I mean, shit. So obviously he's gonna have to be doing something, But no, I don't think he'd be weaker. I definitely think he should be sore when he gets out. If he's gets out and goes on a journey or some shit, his legs are gonna be pulsing with pain the next day. You know what I mean? Because I'm sure he hasn't had any chance to jog or any kind of workout like that unless he runs in place. I don't know. That's a difficult one. I'm gonna say some muscles are probably gonna be very, very sore when he gets out and starts moving around, but I think he's not that much weaker. Rabbi Andy, why is Alpha bald? That might just be a personal choice for Alpha to be bald. It might seem dominant, as far as the look goes, considering she is Alpha, because hair does have a feminine look, bottom line, it just does. Especially, if you have nice, pretty, long, flowing hair, it's kind of hard for Alpha not to look, feminine. So, I mean, unless they give some other reason, it could just be easier to put on the mask or just easier to be a whisperer. I don't know. It's difficult because Lydia obviously has no problem, being a whisperer with long hair. So I'm going to go with it works for her as far as being dominant, as far as being the Alpha. We Love Comics wants to know my favorite single issue. I haven't really thought about it much, but I'm either going to go with the very first issue or my same old pick, which is issue 132. And that was the first issue where, I don't know if that was the first issue exactly where it was with the Whisperer story arc. It was the first time in the Walking Dead comic where I got like the chills. It was actually creepy, and for a zombie comic, you want to hit those notes where the viewer or the reader is like, man, this is some creepy shit. So I'd have to go at 132. I love the cover. I love the story inside the issue, the same as well. But I'd probably have to go back and really read. It's hard to pick out the single issues. Volumes are easier because the issues are only 22 pages. So it's a little harder to go and pick out that exact one, especially when you have, 140 some now, going on 150. Man, you really got to pick the right one that's your all-time favorite. But for me, it'd be 132 at this point in time. Either that or the very first issue. Cullivan V. I might have wrote that name down wrong, but you asked, what is Negan's last story arc, and you're asking when is he going to die, and if he's going to die, how so? How will he die? Those are almost impossible to answer, because if you think about it, let's say before the governor arrived, you asked, is Lori going to die? How is she going to die? I'd probably be like, it might have something to do with the baby, childbirth. A walker might get her, and this is before the governor, so we'd have no idea that the governor would want to attack the prison. And then, the governor's story arc plays out. What I'm trying to say is, what is Negan's last story arc? Damn, that's going to be next to impossible to guess, because clearly they're setting him up for another to take part in a more upcoming story arcs. So we don't even know what the next story arc is going to be, or the next couple, so it's kind of hard to pinpoint what story arc he'll die in. Either something to do with the Whispers, or Negan's going to continue on. I get the feeling Negan's going to continue on for at least the next year or two in our time. And how is he going to die? Again, this is that's a difficult one to answer, because we don't know if he's going to die in the story that takes place after the Whispers or with the Whispers. Basically, I'm getting at, I don't think he's going to die anytime soon. So, and past that, we don't know what's coming. the comic geek, you're asking, what issue will Rick and Alpha go to war? This is harder because you don't want them to go to war. We just got out of all-out war. And I made a video talking about another all-out war, and I didn't mean we're going to go right into another war. Obviously, I think it'd be more interesting if this war had a little more stealth, had a little more issues. It was a little more difficult to navigate through this war, because before it was easy. It was, a dictator Negan, and it was the communities that wanted to rebel against Negan's rule. That's easy as shit compared to Alpha's situation. Now, if Kirkman wanted Alpha just to go to war with them, then fine, you'd have, all-out war number 2. But if Kirkman played his cards right, he can have a gang of Whispers go off, send in some walkers towards the hilltop. When the walkers, come, if the guys that they send out to clear their perimeter kill the walkers, and then boom, there's a couple Whispers hidden in there. They stab and kill the people they sent out to clear the perimeter, and those Whispers retreat. And there's no real rhyme or reason. They don't know what the Whispers' tactics are. They don't know why they're attacking. So then they sent out scouting parties, and here they find out the Whispers moved. So now it gets very deadly because you have the Whispers and they have all those walkers, and they can't find them now. The Whispers are out there somewhere in the open. So then it gets, again, it gets a little more drawn out and complicated, but I think it ramps up the tension, the suspense, and the danger. Because now you don't have a war where it's just two people going to war, and that's what all-out war number 1 is, with Negan, because they even went to Negan's factory and they had a face-off. With the Whispers, they're mobile, so they can go and hide and switch camps, and from the story on that point, the Whispers can go and take out the kingdom next and leave the kingdom in ruins, which would be... I can see that happening now that they took out the leader. If they knew of the kingdom and they wanted to, they can take the kingdom out and then come and try to take out each individual community, and then they can rebel little attacks. So I see it being skirmishes at this point, and not a full-on battle between the survivors on one side and Alpha and the Whispers on the other side. I see it being little skirmishes. I wouldn't be surprised if they took out the kingdom or even the sanctuary, and then they came after, they had little skirmishes off in the woods with whatever. I wouldn't be surprised if some little shit like that happens, but as far as picking what issue...
Cha-cha-cha!
Cha-cha-cha!
Hey, let me show the people your ticket.
No.
Is this your ticket?
Yeah, it's my ticket. But if I had to just pinpoint an exact issue they'll go to war specifically, well, let's say 154 to 5, things should really kick off, and we should be, heading towards war. If not, then around 160. Sebastian Chevalier. Negan, what did he do pre-apocalypse? Kirkman said car salesman in the letter hacks. Other than that, your guess is as good as mine. HJSK Joran. Will Rick and company see the new Woodbury? You know what, you're asking if they'll go back and see the Woodbury and it's, run by a new leader, let's say Lily. And I know that story is changing. I know they're having a battle in the comics between a preacher and Lily about the new Woodbury, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what someone said. I'm not up to date with the novels, but there's no reason for Rick to ever go back to the Woodbury in the comic. No reason at all. Now, in the comic, it wasn't destroyed like it was in the TV show by the governor. But there's just no reason for that. Keep in mind, they're still, in the comic book lore, 600 miles away from Woodbury. So there's just no reason. I don't see any reason why he would go back that direction. Moses Alexander. Do you think Michonne will die with the Whispers? I think it's possible. I would say I'm 40% I feel she might actually die fighting the Whispers. But then again, it's Michonne, man. Kirkman has said she is the most badass character in the comic book. So I don't know. That's hard. I'd like to see her live past the Whispers. Jay Andrews. What happened to Dante? You said it's like they used him and then he became useless. This is what I love with The Walking Dead, and I see so many complaints. I love that they have a character that's doing something in the story, and then he kind of fades out in the background and comes back up again. To me, that's realistic with how life is. I would hate for them to bring a character to the forefront and just kill him off and be like, oh, he's done with the story. I like that they bring in characters and then, the characters fade out. We focus on different characters. So no, like Magna's not useless. She was very useful to bring in a new beginning, and she could be used in 20 issues from now, and I'd be fine with that. Josh BD, do you think Andrea will find out Carl killed Ben? A lot of people are asking this, and you know what I do have to say? There is a chance she might find out, but right now in the story, her love for Carl and Rick most likely outweighs what she felt for Ben back then, so I don't think it would be an issue. Not anymore. Not after all this time. So although it might hurt and she might feel like she's been lied to, I think it's something she would eventually get over. Again, it might hurt, but I don't think she'd turn her back on them because she found out. Jamal Gavin, you said you want Maggie to kill Negan with Lucille. Why are you changing your mind? Well, because I'm allowed to change my mind. Listen, when I said that, two things. One, I still believe that would be an awesome way to kill Negan if Maggie beats Negan to death with Lucille. Still, I'd pick that death. However, they are transforming Negan's story into something more, so we can hold off on that death for now. But back when I said that, I was thinking they were going to come with come to a conclusion with Negan, and that was the best way I thought Negan should die. I still feel like that would be a great death, but now that he's entering the story in a new and fresh way, I would like for them to keep that going, but still have Maggie obviously hate his guts and want him to die, and if they want to take Negan out right now, I'm still rooting for that being the method, to do it. So I don't know what this name is. LPTO113. When they cut Negan's hair and the cell unlocked, etc. Why did they do that if they were just going to keep him in the jail? Now, obviously, they have to clean up the prisoner, They might as well cut his hair. But clearly they did it for the story to play out. They did it to have that cliffhanger. See, a comic is 22 pages. So you got to be creative to do these cliffhangers without having fans be like, oh, what's up? Now we know. We can look back and say, you know what? Robert Kirkman gave us kind of a bullshit cliffhanger with Negan, a bullshit cover with Negan and the door open. But in the same strength, it meant something because it added to the story and to the character development. But on the same strength, it wasn't all necessarily like that important, where I don't think in the they were going to keep him locked up. They didn't really have to bring him out of the jail cell to cut his hair. They did bring him out of the jail cell to clean him up every week or every other week. They did do that, and I believe they said that in the comic. So even though they didn't cut his hair before, that only was the new thing. Everything else they did. They brought him out, cleaned him up, put him back. That was a routine. The hair and everything, that was probably setting him up for the storyline that's coming. Anyway, Jesse Ramirez. Will we see a new Whisper? I think that would actually be pretty badass if we can see a new Whisper, and I mean one that might challenge Alpha, but behind the scenes. Because if he challenges her, then one of them has to kill the other. But it would be pretty cool to see. Imagine seeing something pop off with that. Or something maybe where the new leader wants to just go and take out the whatever. He challenges Alpha. He might even get the upper hand, and instead of dying, Alpha might even run away. You know what I mean? With her being on the run, now it would be difficult for, Alpha. What did they do with her? I don't know. That gets a little complicated because she could be killed at that point. She could go back with the survivors, and then she could be the one where they get all the information out of her about the tribe. But then again, what do you do with her now? She's not a threat. Will she take Negan's place in a jail cell? I don't know. That's complicated, but I would like to see a new Whisperer, especially one that wants to take out the survivors. And but then again, it looks like Alpha's doing that on her own. I don't know. Thanks for all the questions. Thanks for participating. If you have any other thoughts or opinions about all the questions, put those in the comment box. I got to get going and make more videos. I'll see you in the next one. Subscribe.